The Tom Kelly Show. Everybody, I want you to go to the Tom Kelly Show. I want you all to know about the Tom Kelly Show. Thank you.
Trigger warning, spoiler alert, for the love of God, Will, that apology was not enough. You're listening to episode 180 of the Tom Kelly Show. I have a list of topics, and literally as I'm sitting down to record the podcast, 6:30 Tuesday night, recording it for Wednesday. So we're in what I like to call real time. I was going to talk a little bit about the Oscars, but I spent so much time editing and trying to share yesterday's episode. If you want to talk about Chris Rock and Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, the slap, I did an episode I am proud of, episode 179, yesterday's episode. And if you like that, I challenge you to share it with somebody famous, share it with Al Roker, share it with somebody in news, share it with somebody in comedy, share it with somebody big, but not necessarily somebody I know. How about that? Because I think that's what we need to do with the podcast. And that's on the list. Knock on new doors. And then in the middle of all this, I got a text from a girl named Jennifer. And I kind of did a flirting little text, like she was talking about, this is why I'm single. And I'm like, well, this is why I'm single. And she lives far away. She lives in Texas. And I said, well, I would ask you out, except that, I think we'd be very attracted to each other. I think you're right for me personality wise. I just don't think I'm geographically desirable for you. And, so it's very unrealistic. And then she said, I don't think we'd date, but I'd be your friend. Well, gee, thanks for that. That's what I needed. Now I'm even getting rejected in my goddamn imagination. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks for that dose of reality. And then she goes into a whole list of things that are wrong with me. Thanks, Jennifer. And this is why, and this is the moment where I am so good at being mean. And you have to pause. Listen, and there's no chance of her listening to the podcast. What I wanted to say was, and this is why your last boyfriend was mean to you when you were sick, because you pick assholes. I really, right there, this is my insecurity in life and it's what I am making up for in life. And again, this will be half comedy and half real, but if I'm being real and talking about my personal growth, I'm 40 something years old and I'm still getting rejected by high school BS, and the list here was a lot of high school BS. Not attracting me. Now, I'll reverse this for a minute. I am also equally, I'm probably part of why I'm attracted to her is because I am her, because I am just as shallow, evil, or whatever. I don't know. And this is why we're all going to die alone. At this point, and this is not the girl for me. It just hit a warning sign. I'm not looking for love. I'm looking for an emergency contact who will handle my insurance information. At this point, I'm just looking for somebody to put on my do not resuscitate order, who will have the confidence to pull the plug. That's what I'm looking for. Who wants to be my emergency contact and who wants to be my DNR? Anyway, thanks, Jennifer. Thanks for the minute of confidence before the damn show started. And maybe I'll fix that and as we discuss things, but Oscar talk, done with it. One last final joke, and I think I'm really just paraphrasing somebody else's joke, but next time a larger celebrity is offended by a comedian, how about the larger celebrity rush the stage and instead of slapping said comedian, he tickles him? Now technically rushing up and tickling somebody who is smaller than you, that is also abusive, but it's a lot harder for people to complain about. Instead of the slap heard round the world, the tickle fight heard round the world, it would be really hard to write the articles for the next day. if Will Smith just tickled Chris Rock, you know? And then instead of saying, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth, it would be, Chris, do you need me to tickle you again? Who will be the next Oscar winner that will bring back tickle fights? I don't know. So on the list of happy topics. So I guess we're calling this show a house cleaning show. I love house cleaning shows because you can talk about all the little topics you want to do. They don't rate. The last couple of days, I've had some amazing guests on, people that my super fans have enjoyed, but overall the numbers are, they go up, they go down. If I can find a way to put Jussie Smollett, Will Smith, Chris Rock, and I don't know, January 6th into a headline, the numbers will go up. I mean, maybe that's what I'll make the topic. January 6th, Will Smith, Chris Rock, and a whole bunch of other crap we're not talking about today. Because the numbers go up, like on YouTube, the Chris Rock show is doing well. And the show with Lauren and the clip with Lauren and the baby from last week, listen, there has not been a bad show in a while. Like, and you know me, I'm self-loathing. I will tell you what not to listen to. But today is National Take a Walk in the Park Day. I was going to take you on my walk to my show at the St. Mark's Comedy Club tonight, but it's 23. It's somewhere between 23 and 40 degrees out. And I think it's really between 23 and 35, and it's cold. It's cold. And I haven't quite figured out how to work the sound system to record a good video. Like, we're doing well on YouTube. We're starting to build up a little bit of a following on YouTube. So it's kind of hard. I haven't figured out the technical moves there. Whereas here, I've built a studio. It is National Take a Walk in a Park Day. We just did that. Asks, we need to tag a celebrity who should listen to this podcast overall. I love Al Roker. And that's the hard part is, one of the things that is a recurring theme of this podcast, for those of you just coming on board again, is knocking on new doors. It is literally 2 years since I've set foot in the studio at Good Morning America. I mean, I did a little stint at another TV show, which we no longer name, and then freelance work. And what's funny is the good gigs that have hit me in life have always landed on my lap while chasing other things. So the challenge right now is figuring out what doors to knock on while waiting for someone else to knock on my door. And it's kind of it's kind of like what I was just saying about I want to pick as a bullet point on my notes. Listen, I want to pick. I want to host the Tonight Show, let's say. I want to host a talk show. But warm-up work picked me. I want to work at, a late night show. Daytime work found me. And you know what? And it turned out to be great. So I guess the question is, what doors do you knock on while waiting for someone? What doors do you knock on while waiting for someone else to knock on your door? So the asks, I have a list of asks. If you want to join the secret Tom Kelly Show Facebook group, we've been having some very interactive conversations. I'm trying to get you guys to be friends with each other. It sounds crazy, but there's a lot of great people who send me direct messages. It's hard to keep up with all of them, including one person who I know does not listen to the show, just liked my Instagram, and the person would just every morning would write, "Hi, how are you doing?" Well, if you wanted to know how I was doing, you could listen to the damn podcast. And I became that a-hole. I did, but there was just no, and it was like, I'll pay you money if you want to talk to me on the phone. I don't want to talk to my own mother on the phone. I actually do. I love you, Mom. But that's the joke. I love my parents. I want to talk to my parents every day. And I don't talk to, listen, I mean, if we're being real, who do you talk to on the phone? I mean, we're texting people. We're all texting. And it all winds up in my phone. Like, I mean, you know, like I got into an argument with my friend David Brody. I mentioned I was texting with Matt Friend, and Brody, who is, if you listen to the Brooklyn Boys podcast, you'll know he is a stickler. Actually, there's somebody you can tweet. Go find David Brody on Twitter and mention Tom Kelly was talking about him the last few days on the podcast. David Brody, God bless him, is a curmudgeon. And then David Brody says, well, when did Matt Friend give you his phone number? And I'm like, well, it's on Instagram. It's the same crap. It's the same crap. You know, it all goes to the phone. He's like, well, text messaging implies a greater level of intimacy. And I'm like, well, you're right. And now I have Matt Friend's phone number, and it still all winds up on my iPhone 11. Got an interesting show coming up on Friday night. My buddy Tim Crumpier and I are working together at the Umpqua Corinthian Yacht Club in Amityville, New York. And this is a real Long Island thing, or at least my neighborhood. I grew up in a neighborhood, and Amityville is really the neighborhood next to it. Now, and a lot of people from my neighborhood live in that neighborhood. And my friend Danny Murdoch booked it. I'm going to see our common good friend Jack Squicciarini there. So I'm excited to see the two of them. What I am not excited about is there may be a lot of women who probably broke my heart in 4th, 5th, and 6th and 7th grade there. They're all members of this club. And I don't even know if they broke my heart. Like, I wrote out the theme like this. There's a lot of people I remember not liking, but I can't remember why I don't like them. You know, like, do I have to forgive people if I can't remember why I didn't like them? You know, like they always say, forgive and forget, or I forgive, but I'll never forget. Well, do you have to forgive if you did forget? You know, and it sounds stupid, but you know, I know there's one person who, you know, actually I'll tell the story because she won't listen. There's one woman who might be there who broke my heart in the 7th grade. Our lockers were near each other, and God bless the girl. The junior high was, let's say, 3 or 4 miles from my house, which when you're in the 7th grade is forever away. And especially in the suburbs, no public transportation, blah, blah, blah. And basically she was locked out of her locker. I put energy into helping her unlock her locker, and she was the cutesy little cheerleader. And she's like, hey, thank you for helping me with my locker. And then I missed my bus, and I had to call somebody in the family to pick me up. It was a scarring experience because then, you know, I told my mother, it was a girl I had a crush on. Then my mother, with her big yap, told my aunt, who then with her bigger yap says in front of the whole family, who's this girl? And, you know, and then I had to say in front of the whole damn family, well, it's a girl who has ignored my existence since I missed the damn bus. Anyway, that girl keeps popping up on Match.com, and it's like, all right, yeah, you know what? I liked you in the 7th grade. I don't need, I'm not mad, but you know, this is the mean thing, but, you know, unless, like, what makes you so spectacular that I will forgive? You know, you got to be a billionaire. You know, are you a supermodel? They have a great career going. You know, I don't need, oh, thank you. Oh, you got knocked up by the captain of the football team. He left you and you're available now. Yay. You know, I'd rather, again, have the girl in Texas who just friend zoned me without ever meeting me or ever possibly being able to meet me be my DNR. I'm not even looking for an emergency contact. We're looking for a do not resuscitate. I don't know. Again, being bitter. I got a piece of hate mail at TomKellyShow@me.com. And the hate mail says, and it's from a man named God, and his email is cubsfan987654321@gmail.com. It has to be some form of relay email. Email says, why do you look like an overweight Ryan Reynolds? To which I reply, I know I'm overweight because I eat Ben & Jerry's ice cream when I'm lonely. Why do you think I look like Ryan Reynolds? You know, I used to get, and I think we've said this on the show a lot before, I don't mean to offend you, but you look like Dawson from Dawson's Creek. And it would never have offended me, but they always said, I don't mean to offend you right before that. Yeah. So there you go. I have, we'll do a quick game. It's modern dating terms. I learned a little bit from this, but you get ready, get your pen and pencil, quiz yourself. We're going to do this quick. Here we go. Closing with a dating trivia game. It refers to somebody you've been seeing and then they vanish without a trace. Docking, ghosting, cloaking, dissolving. B, ghosting. Oh, side dating story. Side dating story that I wanted to tell you where I am mature. Had a date this weekend. I was actually looking forward to it. Her name is Vanessa. I don't even know her last name, so there's no point in, I'm not outing anybody. Her age appropriate, never divorced, does not want children, just got a puppy. That might be a wild card, but let's not get there. But she travels and she's a professional and was working remotely from Florida and Savannah and a bunch of places. And I was really looking forward to the date. And I actually planned my weekend around the date. And for whatever reason, the dog kept her up late at night. The dog had doggy poops in the middle of the night. And she came to the date and she was just tired and yawning. And you could just tell from the minute I saw her, not into it. And she actually said I was going to cancel, and I'm glad she didn't cancel because I would have been angry because I gave up an extra day of hanging out with my best friend, Mike. I gave up, there was actually, I guess that's about all I gave up. I guess, and then I was going to do my taxes and some other things on Long Island, but it was in the city. And, you know, there's that part that, you know, you want to like give the shot, but instead I just wrote a nice note saying, hey, I was looking forward to going out with you. And I'm glad you made the time for me. And I didn't even say, I wish you luck. I just said, thank you for making the time for me, and left it like that. And then I deleted all of her contact information and her match on Bumble. So that way I do not booty call or put my foot in my mouth with my anger if I wind up drinking and not being able to get to a pint of Ben & Jerry's to soothe myself. So we'll get this out of here. So real quick, big ending. Somebody told a very nice person who I'm excited to get to know better, was very nice to my parents, introduced himself to my parents, and said, I listened to your son's podcast. To which my parents said, what? He has a podcast 3 days a week? What is this? And my parents very genuinely showed interest and asked me what the podcast about. And, you know, I'm trying to explain, and I need a better way. I'm trying to find a positive way to say what this show's about. Is it Tom Kelly elevates lives? Or is it Tom Kelly has the meltdown in public? You know, I know Vince Colura will say the meltdown is funnier. You know, we'll see. So let's get to let's close this out, people. Magic mirror time. Where are you, magic mirror? Here we go. Let's do some quick shout outs. Fred the Mailman. Thank you for sharing the podcast on Twitter. Hugh Mansbridge. I don't know who you are or how I could possibly know someone named Hugh Mansbridge, but thank you for tweeting a more successful podcaster. He tweeted somebody named Moish with 200,000 followers. Hugh, thank you for sending the podcast to a man named Moish. Who else? Brett. Brett Walker. Thank you for always commenting on YouTube. Will Abels, Jacob Lee Downey. Who else is here that I haven't talked to in a little bit? Let's go down to the bottom. Oh, who have I not here? Opera Ann. Thank you for always saying hi. Broken Hand Lynn. Don't even know if you're out there. Scott Baker. Thank you. God, the man who called himself God and called me overweight Ryan Reynolds. You may find this hard to believe, but the overweight part I understand, but the Ryan Reynolds part I am taking as a compliment. And I think that's about it, friends. So until next time, good night, New York.